Welcome to Pigeon Healthy. Today we're talking about one of the most feared diseases in pigeon keeping, coccidiosis. If you've kept pigeons for any length of time, you've either dealt with coccidiosis yourself or you know someone who has. It's particularly devastating to young birds. Squabs can go from seemingly healthy to dead within just a few days. Even birds that survive often have permanent damage to their digestive systems and never reach their full potential. Coccidiosis is caused by microscopic parasites called coccidia, specifically a Maria species in pigeons. These protozoan parasites invade the cells of the intestinal lining, multiply rapidly, destroy the intestinal tissue, and cause severe inflammation, bleeding, and damage. The result is the classic symptoms of coccidiosis: severe watery diarrhea, often greenish or brownish with no solid fecal matter, rapid weight loss even though birds may still try to eat, extreme lethargy with fluffed feathers and hunched posture, dehydration that develops quickly and can be fatal, and in young squabs, sudden death sometimes with minimal warning signs. The standard treatment for coccidiosis is pharmaceutical anti-coccidial drugs. The most commonly used in pigeons is toltrazuril, sold under brand names like Baycox. Other options include sulfadimethoxine and amprolium. These drugs are effective. They kill coccidia and can save birds' lives when used promptly in severe cases. But there are significant downsides to relying exclusively on these chemical treatments. First, resistance. With repeated use of the same anti-coccidial drug, coccidia can develop resistance. This is becoming an increasingly serious problem in poultry and livestock industries, and it's starting to appear in pigeons as well. Once resistance develops, the drugs become less effective or completely ineffective. Second, these drugs don't support the bird's immune system. They kill coccidia, but they don't help the bird develop natural immunity or heal the damaged intestine. Third, some anti-coccidial drugs can have side effects, particularly if overdosed or used in stressed or dehydrated birds. Fourth, repeated use of any pharmaceutical affects the gut microbiome, potentially disrupting beneficial bacteria. And fifth, there's the question of residues. If you're racing pigeons or eating pigeons, drug residues are a concern. So the question becomes, are there natural alternatives that can prevent or treat coccidiosis without these downsides? The answer is yes, with important qualifications. Natural herbal treatments can be very effective for prevention, for mild cases, and as supportive care. They work more slowly than pharmaceutical drugs, so they're not appropriate for severe, life-threatening cases where you need fast action. But for most situations, especially prevention and early intervention, herbal approaches work remarkably well. I'm going to share with you a 3-herb protocol that I've used successfully for years. This isn't based on folklore or guesswork. Each of these herbs has documented antiprotozoal activity, either from scientific research, traditional veterinary use, or extensive practical experience from pigeon and poultry keepers worldwide. The 3 herbs are garlic, wormwood, and blackberry leaves. Used together, they create a synergistic effect that's more powerful than any single herb alone. Before we go into detail on each herb and how to use them, I need to give you the critical disclaimer. If you have squabs or young birds showing severe symptoms of coccidiosis, with profuse watery diarrhea, extreme lethargy, and rapid decline, you need to act fast. In these cases, pharmaceutical treatment may be necessary to save the bird's life. The herbal protocol I'm describing works best for prevention during high-risk times, for mild to moderate cases caught early, and as supportive treatment alongside or after pharmaceutical intervention. Always monitor birds closely, and if they're not improving or are worsening, seek veterinary care. Coccidiosis can kill, and it can kill quickly, especially in young birds. Now let's talk about each herb, why it works, and how to use it. Sonnet 4.5. Garlic, Allium sativum, has been used for thousands of years as medicine for humans and animals. Fresh garlic contains a compound called olein. When garlic is crushed or chopped, an enzyme called oleanase converts olein into allicin. Olein is the active compound responsible for garlic's characteristic smell and most of its medicinal properties. For coccidia specifically, research has shown that olein and other sulfur-containing compounds in garlic have antiprotozoal effects. They disrupt the cell membranes of protozoan parasites, interfere with their metabolism, and inhibit their reproduction. Studies in poultry have demonstrated that garlic supplementation reduces coccidiosis counts and improves gut health. Garlic also has immune-supporting properties, helping the bird's own defenses fight the infection. Additionally, garlic supports beneficial gut bacteria, which compete with coccidia and help maintain intestinal health. The key to using garlic effectively is using it fresh. Dried garlic powder or aged garlic extracts have different chemical compositions and are less effective against coccidia. You need fresh, raw garlic that's crushed or chopped shortly before use to maximize allicin content. How to use garlic for coccidiosis prevention. Take 2 to 3 large cloves of fresh garlic per liter of drinking water. Peel and crush the cloves thoroughly. The crushing action is critical because it activates the enzyme that creates allicin. Let the crushed garlic sit for about 10 minutes to allow maximum allicin formation. Then add the crushed garlic to water, stir well and let steep for at least 1 hour. Strain out the garlic pieces, keeping the garlic-infused water. Provide this as drinking water. Replace daily because allicin degrades quickly. Use for 3 consecutive days, then 4 days off. Then repeat. This can be done year-round as a preventive measure or intensified during high-risk times like damp weather, stress periods, or when young birds are most vulnerable. For treatment of mild to moderate coccidiosis, increase the concentration to 3 to 4 cloves per liter. Provide this stronger garlic water continuously for 5 to 7 days. By day 3 or 4, you should see improvement in droppings and energy. If you're not seeing improvement, the infection may be more severe and require pharmaceutical intervention. For very young squabs still being fed by parents, you can treat the parent birds with garlic water, and some benefit will transfer through the crop milk. For squabs that are weaning, you can offer weak garlic water alongside regular water. Some keepers also add small amounts of crushed fresh garlic directly to feed, mixing it with moist feed or mixing with oil so it sticks to seeds. This provides direct ingestion of garlic compounds. Use about half a small clove per bird per day mixed into feed. Safety considerations with garlic. Garlic is very safe for birds in the amounts used for coccidiosis prevention and treatment. Very large amounts, far beyond what we're discussing, can theoretically cause problems, but at preventive and treatment doses, garlic is well tolerated. The main issue is the strong smell and taste, which some birds initially refuse. Most birds adapt within a day or 2. If birds are refusing garlic water completely, you can dilute it more or mix with a small amount of honey to improve palatability. Herb number 2, wormwood. Wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, is primarily known as a dewwormer, which we covered in detail in a previous video. But wormwood also has significant anticoccidial properties. Wormwood contains several active compounds including thujone, absinthium, and artemisinin. Artemisinin, which you may have heard of because it's used in antimalarial drugs for humans, is actually an antiprotozoal compound. Coccidia are protozoans just like the parasites that cause malaria, and artemisinin has demonstrated effectiveness against coccidia in research studies. Wormwood works against coccidia by disrupting their reproductive cycle, damaging their cell membranes, and interfering with their ability to invade intestinal cells. It also has anti-inflammatory properties that help reduce the intestinal damage caused by coccidia infection. How to use wormwood for coccidiosis. Prepare a wormwood tea using dried wormwood leaves. Use 1 to 2 tablespoons of dried wormwood per liter of boiling water. Place the dried leaves in a glass or ceramic container. Pour the boiling water over them, cover, and steep for 20 minutes. After steeping, strain the tea very thoroughly through a fine cloth or coffee filter to remove all plant material and especially the fine hairs on wormwood leaves, which can be irritating if consumed. For prevention during high-risk times, add 100 milliliters of wormwood tea to 1 liter of drinking water. Provide this for 3 consecutive days, then 11 days off. Repeat the cycle. This can be done during spring and autumn when coccidia levels tend to be highest, or during any period of increased risk. For treatment of mild to moderate coccidiosis, use a stronger concentration of 150 milliliters of wormwood tea per liter of drinking water. Provide continuously for 7 days. Monitor birds closely. You should see improvement by day 3 to 5. If not, pharmaceutical treatment may be needed. Safety considerations with wormwood. Wormwood contains thujone, which in very high doses can be toxic. However, at the doses used for coccidia treatment in pigeons, it's safe. The key is following recommended doses and not exceeding them. Do not use wormwood continuously for more than 7 days without a break. The compounds need to be cleared from the system. Do not give wormwood to laying hens during egg production, as it may affect laying. Do not give to very young squabs under 4 weeks old. Their systems are more sensitive. For young birds 4 weeks to 3 months, use half the adult dose. Wormwood is very bitter and some birds may refuse it initially. You can add a small amount of honey to improve palatability, or start with a weaker dilution and gradually increase concentration. This is the lesser-known component, but it's extremely valuable. Blackberry leaves from Rubus fruticosus or related rubus species have been used traditionally in veterinary medicine for treating diarrhea and intestinal problems in various animals. Blackberry leaves contain high levels of tannins, which have astringent properties. Tannins help tighten and tone the intestinal lining, reduce inflammation, and slow excessive fluid loss into the intestine. For coccidiosis specifically, blackberry leaves don't kill coccidia directly like garlic and wormwood do. Instead, they address the symptoms and support healing. Coccidiosis causes severe inflammation and damage to the intestinal lining, leading to the profuse watery diarrhea that can quickly dehydrate and kill a bird. Blackberry leaves help reduce this inflammation, slow the diarrhea, and support the intestinal tissue and healing. This makes it an excellent complementary herb to use alongside garlic and wormwood. Additionally, tannins have some antimicrobial properties and may help prevent secondary bacterial infections, which often complicate coccidiosis cases. How to use blackberry leaves. Use dried blackberry leaves. If you have access to blackberry plants, you can harvest and dry the leaves yourself. Pick healthy leaves from plants that haven't been sprayed with pesticides. Dry them thoroughly in a shaded, well-ventilated area until crispy, then store in airtight containers. To prepare blackberry leaf tea, use 1 to 2 tablespoons of dried blackberry leaves per liter of boiling water. Steep for 15 to 20 minutes. Strain thoroughly. The resulting tea will be brownish and have a slightly astringent taste. For prevention, this isn't typically used preventively. Blackberry leaves are most useful during active coccidiosis. For treatment, add 100 to 150 milliliters of blackberry leaf tea per liter of drinking water. Provide this alongside or alternating with the garlic and wormwood preparations. Use for 5 to 7 days. You should notice that watery diarrhea begins to firm up within 2 to 3 days. This is the intestine healing and function returning to normal. Blackberry leaf tea can also be given directly by mouth to severely affected birds that aren't drinking well. Give 1 to 2 milliliters several times daily with a dropper. Safety considerations. Blackberry leaves are very safe. The main concern is ensuring they're properly identified and from plants not treated with chemicals. The tannins can be slightly constipating in very large amounts, but at the doses used for coccidiosis treatment, this isn't a problem. In fact, some firming of loose stools is exactly what we want. The 3 herb combined protocol. Now let's talk about how to use these 3 herbs together for maximum effect. Each herb works through a different mechanism. Garlic and wormwood attack the coccidia parasites directly through different pathways. Blackberry leaves support the intestinal tissue and reduce symptoms, while the other herbs kill the parasites. Used together, they create a comprehensive treatment approach. Prevention protocol. High-risk times. Use this protocol during periods when coccidiosis risk is high, spring and autumn when weather is damp, during breeding season when young birds are vulnerable, during molting when birds are stressed, after any stressful event like racing or showing, or if you've had coccidiosis problems in previous years. Day 1 to 3. Provide garlic water as described above. 2 to 3 cloves crushed per liter of water. Steeped 1 hour, strained. Replace daily. Day 4 to 7. Regular clean water with no herbs. Day 8 to 10. Provide wormwood tea water. 100 milliliters of wormwood tea per liter of water. Day 11 to 17. Regular clean water. Repeat this cycle throughout the high-risk season. The cycling prevents continuous herb exposure while maintaining regular preventive doses. Birds develop some natural immunity to coccidia with this protocol while staying protected. If birds are showing signs of coccidiosis but are still eating, standing, and not in severe distress. Day 1 to 7, continuous treatment. Morning, provide garlic water. 3 to 4 cloves per liter, fresh daily. Afternoon, evening, add blackberry leaf tea to the garlic water. Or if birds are drinking well, alternate. Provide 100 milliliters blackberry tea per liter. Every other day, days 1, 3, 5, 7. Also add wormwood. Use garlic plus wormwood. 50 milliliters wormwood tea per liter on these days. On alternate days 2, 4, 6, use garlic plus blackberry without wormwood. This cycling ensures birds get all 3 herbs but not all at maximum dose simultaneously, which could be overwhelming. Monitor droppings daily. By day 3, you should see some firming of the watery diarrhea. By day 5, droppings should be approaching normal, and birds should show better energy. By day 7, birds should be significantly improved or recovered. If after 3 days you see no improvement, or if birds worsen at any point, pharmaceutical intervention is needed. Don't delay. Severe coccidiosis progresses quickly. After 7 days of treatment, if birds have improved, continue with preventive protocol for another 2 to 3 weeks to prevent relapse. Coccidia can persist in small numbers, and birds need time to fully heal and develop immunity. Treatment protocol. Severe cases. For severe cases with profuse diarrhea, severe lethargy, inability to stand, or very young squabs in crisis, my strong recommendation is to use pharmaceutical anticoccidials like Baycox immediately. These cases need fast-acting treatment. However, you can support pharmaceutical treatment with herbal support. Give the pharmaceutical drug as directed by your veterinarian or product instructions. Simultaneously, offer blackberry leaf tea as drinking water to help firm stools and support intestinal healing. Once the bird is stabilized on pharmaceutical treatment, after 2 to 3 days, you can add garlic water to support immune function and begin rebuilding gut health. After completing pharmaceutical treatment, use the prevention protocol with all 3 herbs for several weeks to prevent relapse and support full recovery. Supporting measures. Herbal treatment alone is not sufficient. You must also address management factors. Coccidiosis are shed in droppings. In wet, warm conditions, they sporulate and become infective. Keep the loft extremely clean and dry. Remove droppings daily. Prevent water containers from being contaminated with droppings. Reduce stress. Stressed birds have weakened immune systems and are more susceptible to coccidiosis. Provide excellent nutrition. Birds fighting coccidiosis need high-quality protein, vitamins and minerals to repair damaged intestinal tissue. Consider adding probiotics. Beneficial bacteria help restore normal gut flora after coccidiosis damage. Isolate sick birds to prevent oocysts from spreading to healthy birds. But ensure sick birds stay warm and have easy access to food and water. What results to expect? With the herbal protocol, results are not instant but should be progressive. Day 1 to 2. You may not see dramatic change, but you might notice birds are slightly more alert or droppings are slightly less watery. Day 3 to 4. Droppings should be firming up noticeably. Birds should show better energy and interest in food. Day 5 to 7. Droppings should be mostly normal or close to normal. Birds should be active, eating well and showing normal behavior. Weight should stabilize or begin to increase. Week 2 to 3. Full recovery. Birds should have regained lost weight. Feathers should look healthy, and normal activity should be completely restored. For prevention, the measure of success is that birds don't develop coccidiosis despite being in conditions where it's common. You won't see dramatic signs because you're preventing a problem rather than treating one. The success is in what doesn't happen. Why this protocol works. The reason this 3-herb combination is effective is synergy. Garlic attacks coccidia through allisin's effects on protozoan cell membranes and metabolism. Wormwood attacks coccidia through artemisinin and related compounds that disrupt the parasite's reproductive cycle. Blackberry leaves don't kill coccidia but support the intestine in healing from the damage coccidia cause. Together they address both the parasites and the symptoms while supporting the bird's natural healing processes. Additionally, unlike pharmaceutical drugs which create selection pressure for resistant coccidia, herbal treatments use multiple compounds and mechanisms simultaneously. Coccidia would have to develop resistance to multiple different plant chemicals at once, which is far less likely than developing resistance to a single pharmaceutical compound. Common questions. Can I use just 1 or 2 herbs instead of all 3? You can, but the protocol is less effective. Garlic alone or wormwood alone will have some anticoccidial effect, but the combination is significantly more powerful. If you can only access 1 or 2 herbs, use what you have, but results will be less consistent. Can I use this protocol alongside Baycox or other pharmaceuticals? Yes. In severe cases, using Baycox for fast action while supporting with blackberry leaves for intestinal healing and then transitioning to garlic and wormwood after pharmaceutical treatment is complete works very well. There's no negative interaction. How long can I use this protocol? The prevention cycling protocol can be used year-round if desired, though it's most important during high-risk seasons. The treatment protocol should not be used continuously. After 7 days of treatment, switch to the prevention cycle or give the herbs a break. Continuous high-dose herbal treatment isn't necessary or advisable. Does this work for adult birds or only young birds? It works for all ages. However, young birds are far more susceptible to severe coccidiosis, so they benefit most. Adult birds often have some immunity from previous exposure and typically only get mild cases, which respond very well to herbal treatment. Will this prevent all coccidiosis? No treatment, herbal or pharmaceutical, provides 100% prevention. The goal is to dramatically reduce the incidence and severity. Birds may still be exposed to coccidia and may carry low levels, but they shouldn't develop clinical disease. Cost and accessibility. One advantage of herbal treatment is cost-effectiveness and accessibility. Fresh garlic is inexpensive and available everywhere. Dried wormwood can be purchased from herbal suppliers or grown and dried yourself. Blackberry leaves can be harvested free if you have access to blackberry plants or purchased dried from herbal suppliers. A few dollars worth of herbs can treat many birds for extended periods. Compare this to pharmaceutical anticoccidials, which are more expensive and require repeated purchases. Final thoughts. Coccidiosis is a serious disease. It kills birds, particularly young birds, but it can be prevented and treated effectively using natural herbal methods. The 3-herb protocol of garlic, wormwood, and blackberry leaves works through multiple mechanisms to attack coccidia, support intestinal healing, and strengthen natural immunity. This isn't about rejecting modern medicine. Pharmaceutical anticoccidials have their place, especially in severe emergencies. But for prevention, for early intervention, and for long-term health without creating drug resistance, the herbal approach is powerful, safe, and effective. The key principles are early intervention, using the herbs correctly and at appropriate doses, combining herbal treatment with excellent management including cleanliness and stress reduction, and monitoring birds closely to ensure they're improving. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. Coccidiosis is such a common problem that this information could help many pigeon keepers and save many birds' lives. If you've used herbal treatments for coccidiosis or other diseases, share your experience in the comments. Your practical knowledge helps build our community understanding. If you haven't subscribed to Pigeon Healthy yet, please do and turn on notifications. We focus on natural, effective solutions for pigeon health, disease prevention, and optimal care without over-reliance on pharmaceutical interventions. Thank you for watching. Take care of your birds, act quickly at the first sign of problems, and remember that prevention through good management is always better than treating disease. I'll see you in the next video where we'll discuss natural ways to boost egg production and fertility in breeding pairs. Retry